Sad news for Meghan and Harry. Queen snubbed Archie's royal birthright. The rift between Harry, Meghan, and the royals seems to only get bigger by the day, and there's a devastating impact for their kids. One of the most amusing things which unites British prime ministers of all political stripes is an aversion to their annual mandatory weekend with the Queen every summer at Balmoral. Margaret Thatcher thought of her jaunts to the Scottish Highlands as purgatory, according to royal biographer Ben Pilmot. Tony Blair was equally unimpressed, describing his trips as, quote, a vivid combination of the intriguing, the surreal, and the utterly freaky. On the upside, he also described the pre-dinner cocktails as being the strength of true rocket fuel. While the political establishment in London might view the trips to Her Majesty's 50,000-acre Desdie estate with nose-wrinkling horror, it's another matter entirely for the Windsors. They simply can't get enough of the place. This week, for the first time since the death of Prince Philip, the Queen's extended family have reportedly joined her in Scotland en masse, with William and Kate, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, arriving with their 3 children for a vacation. Her Majesty arrived at the Hulking Castle in July for her annual 3-month holiday. A royal family friend has told Vanity Fair that having her grandchildren and great-grandchildren to stay for the final weekend in August has become a tradition, and that in the past it has turned into one big sleepover with lots of the Queen's grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Her Majesty the Queen enjoys it immensely. All together now, aww. In mid-August, the Queen was seen picnicking at a nearby glen with the young children, who the Daily Mail reports were either the daughters of Zara Tindall or Peter Phillips. While it was a very sweet image, there's a sharper converse here because while the monarch gets to spend precious time with the majority of her great-grandchildren, who range in age from 10-year-old Savannah Phillips to 5-month-old Luca Tindall, there are 2 tiny Windsors who do not seem to have been given this opportunity and maybe never will. I mean, of course, Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Hypocrisy's little one, Archie and Lilibet Mountbatten Windsor. And that tugs on the heartstrings a tad, doesn't it? See, while you and I might not exactly think an extended stay in a remote part of a Scotland estate exactly equates to the dream getaway, the weather forecast for this weekend is a top of 16 degrees. Not so for the royal family. What Balmoral offers them is not only a tantalizing facsimile of normality, but a chance to spend extended time together as a family, which they only really get during their summer break. Earlier this year, William said of his childhood memories of Balmoral, "As I grew up, I saw how my grandmother relishes every minute she spends here, and my father is never happier than walking among the hills. My childhood was full of holidays, having fun in the fresh air, swimming in lochs, family barbecues with my grandfather in command, and yes, the odd midge." Blair said of the family's famed all-hands-on-deck barbecues, "You think I'm joking, but I'm not. They put the gloves on and stick their hands in the sink. The Queen asks if you finish, she stacks the plates, and up and off she goes to the sink." But Her Majesty is 95 years old, and despite relatively sprightly appearances, even she is not immortal, well, as far as we know. Without being too macabre here, there are only a very finite number of years left to create lasting memories with her great-grandchildren, memories that Archie and Lily may never get to make. Yes, the breach between Harry and his family has been dominated by royal news for years now. The royal story that launched to 1,000 headlines. This year has only seen an escalation in tensions, a dramatic ramping up of how far the former spare is willing to go in his seeming quest to sway the world to righteousness of he and his wife's Meghan decision to walk away from royal life. Yes, they can be stopped. Royals do not just get to decide to be a working royal or a senior. They do not get to represent the Queen without her asking them and hiring them. There is no pay or security without the Queen putting them to work for her and the monarchy. And that will not happen. Sorry, folks. The Queen has counted on the ones who stepped up and took the pressure and extra workload left behind Harry and Meghan, and they're doing a great job. The Queen would leave that totally up to Prince Charles and William with her feelings known. She's been preparing those guys to take over for years. I really do not see how that would ever work. In light of such a febrile atmosphere, it is understandable, if not downright sensible, that now the California-based Sussexes are hardly chomping at the bit to spend their downtime rubbing calamine on their midge bites and dodging whatever bracing outdoor activity Princess Anne has planned next. But what about Archie and Lily? The first northern summer after Archie was born in 2019, Harry and Meghan did not visit Balmoral as far as anyone is aware. They did, however, spend 6 days in Ibiza and then enjoyed a mini break in the south of France, sipping off and returning via private jet each time. Last year and this year saw the Sussexes settling into their new lives in the United States amid the pandemic, and ditto 2021. Still, even if travel restrictions or any COVID-related considerables magically disappeared tomorrow, the prospect of the family whinging their way back for some quality Gan time in Scotland is not so much unlikely as downright ludicrous a prospect. So a consequence of the current Sussex status quo is that while the Queen is enjoying picnics with some of the tiniest Windsors, Harry and Meghan's kidlets have missed out. 2 days after Archie's birth, the bub was photographed being cradled by his mother while a beaming Queen and other family members looked on. In the years since, it is believed that the monarch has only met the little boy a handful of times, according to the Times, which has reported that Her Majesty was very sad to have seen so little of the Sussex's son. In fact, Archie has not set a tiny foot on UK soil since 2019. The window for him to get to know his great-grandmother is only getting smaller and smaller. Missing out on being a part of the royal family's summer holidays has other implications. Not only are the Sussex kidlets missing out on getting to spend some quality time with their great-grandmother, but also with their royal cousins. Like all extended family breaks, Balmoral means hours upon hours for the younger generations to play together and to lay the groundwork for lifelong bonds. The closeness, Wales brother rift aside, that Her Majesty's grandchildren share is one of the bright spots on the otherwise emotionally barren Windsor landscape. In 2018, Mike Tyndall, who is married to Princess Anne's daughter, Zara, revealed that the younger members of the royal family have a WhatsApp group. All signs currently point to Archie and Lily growing up without the chance to form those ties to their British relatives. In fact, according to the Times, the first time the Cambridge kids, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis met their cousin Archie was at a charity polo match 2 months after he was born. I mean, the tabloids will never stop. The Queen and Prince Charles are not going to let Meghan change the monarchy. It cannot go into political movements or talks, nor the women's rights. They must just be neutral and let people and government deal with it. And no matter how modern the monarchy aims for, it will never be where the spares are equal in rank or ruling. So I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen, and more than likely it's for the best. The future is below, and I know they will be happy for Harry and Meghan to make a good life in California. Who knows where things might stand for the Sussexes? The Queen and the royal family as a whole next summer are given some time on the stage near Harry's autobiography will hit shelves. And is there any way back for the self-exiled Duke and Duchess? After the hurt and the anger of the last few years on all sides, can wounds fully ever heal? One thing which is certain is that Balmoral has always been, and will continue to be, something of a balm for the House of Windsor. As Queen Victoria wrote of the Scottish retreat after she and her husband, Prince Albert, purchased it in 1852. All seem to breathe freedom and peace and to make one forget the world and its sad turmoils. Unfortunately, it's 2021 and the current Queen has a lot of turmoil to try and forget.